Hello. It is day 3, but second video because I did not shoot one yesterday. I just watched a movie with my girlfriend called The Drama with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson, I think his name is. So I didn't watch the trailer or anything. I didn't even know what it was about. I'm not gonna try and spoil it, but if you don't want to know anything about the movie, then don't watch the video. Not that I have subscribers or anything, but I actually do think one of these is a spoiler because my girlfriend said that she didn't know what it was about until like what she talked about in the trailer or something like that. Is this north? Anyways, so yeah, school shooting. This was a big topic in the movie, and my girlfriend liked how movie directors decided that they were going to implement a black woman to change it up. But I didn't. I thought it didn't make sense. And let me explain to you why. Well, first let's talk about how the movie represented a school shooter, okay? I think it was very interesting. I think it was pretty accurate. You know, like the aesthetic version of it. I thought it was so accurate. And it was a little disturbing to me because in my younger days, I'm not that old, but like in my younger days, I knew about those spaces, you know, those school shooter spaces where something that the movie didn't represent is that a lot of it is done in an online setting, an online chat. So I thought that was very interesting and a little bit disturbing to be honest. Something they didn't show in the movie though is those chat rooms, which I figured, you know, would be kind of boring, but it is a big part that plays into these school shootings and the school shooters themselves. So yeah, and my girlfriend and I talked about it. I told her, let me go ahead and tell you why casting, not that Zendaya is a bad actress, but casting a black woman does not make sense for a school shooter. Even a big thing that you see in school shooters, something that you see talked about, is that, oh, you know, it's mostly white men or it's mostly white people that shoot up these schools. And I know there's a correlation. Everybody knows when there's something that happens frequently in a certain group of people, there's always a correlation. There's always some type of factor that aligns it all. Oh my god, you guys cannot see me. Anyways, I guess this should just be a podcast. But or maybe I could just turn on my light. There we go. So yeah. And from what I know, I'm not gonna tell you I did the most research on this, okay? I'm not some type of expert. But neo-Nazism is the correlation I see in all of this. Even when you trace back, I don't know the name of the guy. I forgot the name. But I think it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, some black kid went into his school and shot like 2 students and then killed himself or something like that. And he wrote this like manuscript or, you know, this last message for everyone to read, and it's somehow still related to neo-Nazism, him believing that he's some black Israelite. And, you know, there's a lot of trolling in it as well, like a lot of stuff that were obviously not serious. And who knows, maybe him thinking that he's some black Israelite or this whole neo-Nazism point of view was also a troll. But it was like 30 pages long. It's ridiculous. It was so like it was so obvious that he was in these spaces in general. And what I'm saying is that the correlation to these school shooters, most of the time, not all the time. Now, obviously, they can have some mental problems, and they all do have mental problems. But there's a difference when somebody is actually like schizophrenic or something like that, and someone's just in these chat rooms filled with these ideologies, you know. So, that's a conversation my girlfriend and I had, and I talked to her about like 4chan, where you can even implement misogynistic and racist terms that people use now, not knowing where they came from, when they originate from like 4chan and all these incel sites, where even the term incel came from 4chan and from the incels themselves. I was talking about misogynistic point of views, like alpha and beta and all this random shit, you know. So I think that's something that people don't really take time to address. People, it's such a niche community, which I don't know, is niche used as like a good thing? I don't think so. I think niche is like a neutral term, but it's such a niche community where this neo-Nazism ideology is spread, where you'll only find them on I think Reddit used to be a big one. I don't know if it's more moderated now, but I know for a fact 4chan was. And that's also a big reason why the US is, I mean, obviously gun policies and all that, but the US in general is so stuck on this neo-Nazism ideology, where you won't find anywhere else, Like, obviously the internet exists now, so you're going to see school shootings, or you're going to see violence with the same ideology now, because even people outside the US are obsessed with the racism that we keep in our country. So yeah, that's really about the conversation. I have other stuff to say, but it's not coming to my mind right now. But the movie was pretty interesting. I couldn't even look at it for some of it, because okay, I'll go ahead and do a little spoiler right now and just talk about what the movie is about. But basically, find a little date. This guy found this little girl at some coffee shop. He asked her out, and then it's a big cut to when they're about to get married. And she's deaf in one ear, and she said to the guy that it was from birth. And later on, you figure out that she actually, they go ahead and share like the worst thing they did. The guy she's dating, or now fiance, his friend and his girlfriend, they're like sharing the worst thing they did with each other. And she's drunk. Well, I don't know how drunk, but drunk enough to tell these people that when she was 15, she wanted to shoot up a school, a mass shooting, whatever. And everybody looked at her crazy, of course, because that's a crazy thing. And she admits herself that it's crazy, but that's not something you ever say out loud. Not that I ever thought it, or I don't know how often people think of doing something like that. But if they do, most of the time you're not gonna see that spoken to. Like, nobody's gonna say that out loud. So they looked at her crazy, and the reason she was deaf in one ear, which is why I mentioned this, is because she actually was like practicing, and she accidentally shot the gun right next to her ear and lost her hearing. And it was a big thing where marriage obviously didn't happen, and for some reason there's a good ending. I would recommend watching it. A little disturbing, but I would recommend watching it. And yeah. So a big, actually not an argument, but a debate that my girlfriend and I had was what drove people to shoot these schools up. I don't know if this is gonna even be allowed on YouTube. I don't know. I'm being very blunt, not bland. Anyways, what drives these people? And her reason was hate. or not her reason in the movie, but my girlfriend, her thought process was like, oh, it has to be hate. You know, they hate these black people. They hate the people that wronged them. They hate these bullies. Or, you know, they hate anybody that's not white. Now, that's two sides of the coin, you know? It's when you're talking about the neo-Nazism, you're talking about, oh, they must hate black people. They must hate anybody that's not white. Or the other side of the coin where it's like, oh, this is a bully. And, or she even pointed out like, oh, I'm having a bad life. Why should everybody else be happy? Which obviously two sides of a coin. I'm not saying all school shootings happen to link to neo-Nazism, but you know, that I believe is a big reason for it. And what I was explaining is that the drive to go shoot up a school, it can be because, oh my God, somebody bullied me, whatever. But a lot of the time it's for attention in these chat rooms, these neo-Nazis chat rooms. I'm not even sure if I'm using these terms correctly, so pardon me, I don't know. But, and my girlfriend was like, no, it has to be hate. There has to be some sort of hate. But in reality, from what I know, these people are they have so much adrenaline from people having the same mindsets of them, as them, I should say, that the hate of it all, where it's like hating black people, hating anybody that's not them, is like they don't even care about that really. Like, yes, sure, that's their entire conversation, that's what their entire chat is really about, but the fact that somebody else has such a crazy idea that's so niche, nobody really thinks like that in the real world. Well, I'm not saying that, obviously people are right there in these chats, but like, no, like in the typical world, people aren't thinking this. You don't just walk outside and people will agree with you if you said some stupid shit like that, you know? And that's why I think it drives from these people having like these manic thoughts and other people being able to like relate to them. And, you know, they build a community off of it to where, you know, they record these videos where in the movie, a lot of it was to do with aesthetics. You know, it was like she's like recording herself having this school shooter aesthetic where she's like putting black under her eyes, braiding her hair back, having this, I think, a leather jacket and the gun next to her, and she's like smoking cigarettes and shit. It's like, it's all an aesthetic, and the drive for it, in my opinion, is fame. It's for attention, and not even specifically because my girlfriend was like, well, nobody's gonna remember their name. I don't remember one school shooter other than like maybe like Nicholas Cruz, but I'm in Florida, so maybe, I don't know if that's just because I'm in Florida, but like, nobody's gonna remember their name in the typical world. Nobody's gonna remember their name. But what they really are looking for is not fame in just the typical world, but actually the chats. From what I believe, you know, obviously all of this is superstition. I've had my fair share on the online world, not in those chat rooms, but, you know, I know enough to think that like what they want is to be admired by their peers. I'm pretty sure that school shooter from 2-3 years ago, the black Israelite, as he called himself, was friends with another school shooter that happened in the past, and they believe those same things. And I think that's something that people need to focus on. And like, it's not for no reason, you know. People are trying to associate, you know, there's a reason why most school shooters are white. Most school shooters are white. Like 99% of school shooters are white. It's not for no reason. It's because it's linked to neo-Nazism. Anyways, this is obviously just what I think. I haven't done research on it to the point where I can say this is absolute. I can't give you percentages, even though I just did 99% of them being white. I don't know if that's true, but it's 1,000% close to that. If it's not 99%, it's 1,000% gonna be close to that. But listen, you let me know what you think. If anybody watches this is just day 2 of my or video 2 of my diary. But yeah, I went on a little date. We're gonna go eat some burgers now. And that's it. Not much happened today. Just work, this movie, burgers. People really hate the 9 to 5. I do too. Don't get me wrong. But when I recap my day, I talk about how I went to work. Now I'm here watching a movie with my girlfriend. I'm gonna eat burgers with my girlfriend, and I'm happy. So I don't know. I'm glad I'm doing these videos. It helps me recap and not just think about, oh, I hated work. Now I'm going to sleep. I had no time. But no, I'm happy. Anyways, let me know what you think about what I said. Am I spewing complete utter bullshit? Or have you guys seen the correlation as well? Like, am I just crazy? You know, let me know. I feel like that's something people need to talk about. Like, people don't talk about this. They always correlate to like the minute stuff where it's just like, oh, well, this person's a white, or oh, this person's a male. It's like, they're a white male for a reason, because those are the highest percentage of people in these like racist groups, these misogynistic groups. Like, and I don't even understand the correlation to like, there probably is a correlation to transgenderism and neo-Nazism, but that's such a small percentage. Like, there's such a small percentage of transgender people in that community that there's nothing you can't even say like, oh, it's transgenders. There's like this whole thing right now going around talking about we have to take away guns from transgenders because they're dangerous. And I'm like, what about white males? I'm not saying that all white males are gonna be school shooters. I'm just saying, like, how can you say transgenders are at fault when 99% of the other school shootings are just done by white men? Okay. Sorry, to be honest, I'm not very passionate on the subject. It's not a very passionate subject. I think it's just because of the movie. But I thought that was interesting. That's all for today. Oh, god damn, this video is 17 minutes long. Okay, well, bye.